If one walk-off win for Wichita State wasn't enough Friday on a home run, how about two of them? It started in Game 1 of Friday's doubleheader. Bailey Lang not only got the walk-off homer for the win, she was the winning pitcher in Game 1 of Friday's doubleheader against Central Florida. Then Lori Derrico did the same thing in the bottom of the 7th of the nightcap. It was a Shocker doubleheader sweep with a pair of walk-off homers. Now the Shockers look for a series sweep of Central Florida. First pitch coming up next. Welcome to Wilkins Stadium on the final Sunday for a conference home game this season as the Shockers of Wichita State take on the Knights of Central Florida. Steve Strain, Jamie Hull with you as we are about set to go. First pitch coming up in just a couple of minutes. And Jamie, as we look at today's game, we can't start it without talking about what happened on Friday night. A doubleheader sweep for Wichita State where we saw two walk-off home runs for the Shockers. We've seen this team here at home, especially with a lot of late-inning heroics, but what about what we saw on Friday night?
Yeah, you see these two, they were huge in the clutch for Wichita State. You know, after getting behind in the 6th inning, Wichita State gave Central Florida 4 runs in Game 1 and 2 in the 6th inning, so they were working from behind, and these two right here came up and acted like it was no big deal, both coming up with huge home runs, swinging out of their shoes and making all the difference for the Wichita State wins.
Not only did Bailey Lang get the walk-off home run in that first game of the doubleheader, but she had 2 home runs in that game and was the winning pitcher. What a game it was for her. We talk a lot about her pitching. What about those 2 home runs?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about her athleticism all the time. She did not want to be the losing pitcher in that game, and she made sure it wasn't going to happen. And you could see her there in the walk-off. She knew it was gone, and so did everyone else on the field. She was feeling it, got her Shockers going for Game 2, and coming in with the win just there late in the game.
And then there's Lori Derrico coming back in the nightcap, somebody that you would want up in this situation, and boy, did she deliver.
She absolutely did, and we talked about her potentially bunting there to be able to move the runners around, and the coaching staff decided, let's see what her bat can do, because she's absolutely capable of making the big difference, and there she did coming into the plate.
Now, as we take a look at the conference standings in the American, how big were those 2 wins for Wichita State? Well, they've moved into a tie for second place with these Central Florida Knights. Both teams now 8-6 in conference play. Houston has joined the party as well at 8-6. Only half a game back, though, is Memphis. So a real log jam there in second place. The Shockers, though, look for the sweep today, which obviously, looking at that graphic right there, would be big.
It absolutely would. And we talk about how this conference tournament will be really interesting with these teams all being very competitive. And again, with that log jam there in the middle, it'll be interesting to see how this series ends up and how Wichita State can handle the rest of the season before conference tournament play.
All right, so here we go. Shockers and Knights to wrap up this series. Wichita State trying to make it a sweep, and Denali Shophacker steps in, and the first pitch at 12:01 Central Time from Bailey Lang is a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Shockers picked up their 25th win of the season in Game 1 of the doubleheader Friday, then number 26 in the nightcap. Central Florida still stuck on 30 wins, with a couple of chances to get to 31 on Friday, but to no avail. 2 balls and no strikes to Shophacker, and she takes in tied, and Bailey Lang has quickly fallen behind the count. 3 balls and no strikes. Shophacker started in left field in Game 1 of Friday's doubleheader, involved in that very interesting play down in the left field corner that resulted in a Shocker home run, and did not start the nightcap as she takes here 3-1. That was the play, Jamie, where the Shockers, as part of that 4-run 8th inning Friday in Game 1, she had the ball touch her glove, then it went off of it and over the fence. She takes inside for a ball, and she'll head down to first base. And that was 2 of the 4 runs again for Wichita State in that bottom of the 8th inning the other night. There the Shockers defensively And Mariana Gemelli, second straight game, gets the start at second base after Kaylee Hecker had some real trouble out at second base in game 1 Friday. Part of the reason Central Florida tied the score. Gemelli's going to get a chance here, and she'll get a force out at second, and the double play, 4-6-3. Well, you get the start, you want to make the most of it. Mariana Gemelli does it right there, helping turn 2.
That's what it's all about in the game of softball. You're looking for the opportunity to get the lead out, especially when it's a leadoff walk. That's just going to be detrimental to your defense if you do give up a free pass at the beginning of the lineup. And here you see Bailey Lang getting that ground ball out from Brewer, going all the way to Gemelli, who takes advantage and gets that lead out of Shoppacker at second base. Nice little double play with the Shockers.
Just like you draw it up for Wichita State. Now Aubrey Johnson is in, takes his strike from Lang. No balls in his strike. And she lifts this one right side, but right at Bailey Nickerson, who's in right. And just like that, Bailey Lang, after a leadoff walk, still faces the minimum. After half an inning, Central Florida nothing. Shockers coming up.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee. Steep slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Charles Koch Arena is the place where we gather as a community to compete against the very best. Now our game plan is to renovate Koch Arena by adding a new Student-Athlete Success Center. Your tax-deductible gift can help deliver that slam dunk. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Bottom of the first inning, another windy one here at Wilkins Stadium. We have had very few sunny days with no wind, even into mid to late April. They're bundled up again today. And Jamie, interestingly enough, the wind is almost the exact opposite as it was yesterday, which looks like it's almost out of the west. Yesterday it was out of the east. Normally it's out of the south with the occasional north wind, but different this weekend for that Central Florida defensive alignment to deal with. As there you see, Shoppacker again back out in left field. Alia White starts in the circle again for Central Florida. She is their ace. She wasn't at her best yesterday, but we saw flashes of why she is one of the top pitchers in this conference.
Yeah, we talked about her and just the amount of pitching that she has done for UCF so far in this season. Her sophomore year, making the majority, and that's even an understatement, of the starts here in the conference, only seeing 3 other starters on the lineup here for the pitching staff. And so she's going to pitch the majority of the games, and I think Friday made all the difference with it being a doubleheader. She couldn't pitch both games in a row, so they did see a little bit of struggle out on the mound in game 2. They're really looking to pick that back up here in game 3 with her start.
42nd appearance of the year for Alia White here this afternoon against the Shockers. 1 ball and no strikes to Mackenzie Wright. And that one looked pretty good. 2 balls and no strikes to Wright. Mackenzie, one of 3 Shocker seniors. We'll talk about this more later. Recognized on Senior Day today here at Wilkins Stadium. As she takes down and in. And quickly, Mackenzie is ahead in the count. 3 balls and no strikes. Mackenzie had a home run in the doubleheader on Friday night. That came in game 1 that the Shockers won 5-4. It was her 4th of the season. 3 balls and a strike as Wright is takes a deep breath, and now the Oklahoman is back in and ready to go. Another one that looked pretty good. And it's early, but we may have, if this trend continues, a very tight strike zone that this Shocker lineup will see. Mariana Gemelli, we talked about her, not only inserted defensively for Kaylee Hecker, who normally does not bat, but Gemelli will, and got a nice hard hit base hit the other night when she came in game 2. Here's Asia Weber taking a strike, nothing at 1 to her. Alia White's record, 22-12 on the season, one of the tops in the nation in wins with 22. 2.18 her earned run average swells to after the Shockers got to her on Friday night. There's a strike on the outer edge. Jamie talked about how she has really been the workhorse for this Central Florida team. 221 2/3 innings she has logged on this season. And this is her 33rd start in her 42nd overall appearance. Weber down and away. 1-2 to Asia.
This is also her 13th start in the conference, and as I mentioned earlier, there are 4 pitchers on this staff. Cameron Toney came in against the Shockers in Game 2 for only her 2nd start in the conference. So Alia White, definitely the workhorse for this staff of UCF.
There goes Weber, caught looking on strikes. Asia down, and there's one away. And that's a good job by White right there to work Asia and get the strikeout looking. So many times, Jamie, we see pitchers to Asia working the outer edge, and it happens again.
Yeah, sometimes they just look a little too far outside, but again, if it's close, you got to swing, and Asia did get caught up there looking, but again, maybe just going to have a better opportunity next time to really know that those outside pitches is what Alia White is going to be looking to throw her.
Here's the player that had the big walk-off homer in Game 2 Friday night, Lori Derrico. 0-1 as she fouled the first pitch away. Now after the second pitch, which is a ball, a snap throw to first. And Mackenzie Wright is back diving in. Lori now with a team high 11 home runs on the year and 36 runs batted in. Also tops on this Shocker team. Bouncer over to third, fielded there by Esparza. They'll try to turn 2. And the Knights can't quite do it. They did get the lead runner right, though, for a 5-4 putout, 2 away. So Derrico reaches after reaching via the fielder's choice, but they're now 2 away. So Riley Buck in now from the right side. And the first offering from White to Riley. Outside for a ball. Alia White up to 155 strikeouts coming into the game. She has walked 70. She went the distance on Friday night in Game 1 of the doubleheader. She went all 7 1/3 before the Shockers got the walk-off via Bailey Lang's home run. But again, Jamie, she was not at her best. She walked 6 and struck out 4. And all 9 runs were charged to her. And that's what brought the earned run average for Alia White over that two-run barrier to 2.18 starting the day today. Shockers did a really good job against this pitcher that not many have had success against this year. There's a drive to center field. Has she done it? Riley Buck has. Another Shocker home run to center field. This is a 2-run shot, and the Shockers have drawn first blood. Sixth of the year for Riley. Runs batted in 26 and 27, and Wichita State has put a 2-spot up in the first thanks to a nice smooth stroke seen here by Riley Buck.
No question about this one off the bat of Riley Buck. She takes this one straight back up the middle all the way over the fence. You can see it was just right there in her wheelhouse, the perfect spot for her to just take this 1 yard, and I think it's still rolling out into the street there past Wilkins Stadium. No doubt about that one, as she was the one who sent the one to left field against Shoppacker. That was kind of questionable for all of us, but that one, no question.
Hot shot here from Bailey Nickerson over to short. Fielded well by Esparza, and pulling her foot off the bag was Barlow, and Bailey will be safe at first base. Well, that throw really had to be rushed, and Barlow tried to stretch over at first, and I'm not sure if the foot came off the bag or if she dropped the ball or maybe a little bit of both. We'll see it again.
Yeah, this 5-6 hole is a pretty tough spot to get, but Emmanuel gets it all the way over there. It looks like it just takes her off the bag. Barlow had the ball in her glove and then into her hand, but did come off the base. So tough play for Emmanuel over at shortstop, but a good attempt. Gets Nickerson on safely.
And that's going to be an error on Central Florida, so The E6 brings Paige Llewellyn up to the plate now, and Paige takes up high for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. So the Shockers may not be through yet. They've already scored a couple here with 2 outs, and now a runner at first after an error for Llewellyn. Paige the other way. That's through the wickets of Barlow at first and on into the right field corner. Down to third base goes Nickerson, and she will stop right there. Paige Llewellyn, a 2-out single, puts him at the corners. Well, it's good to see Paige's bat has really come alive here in the last several days for the Shockers. And a nice piece of hitting right there, Jamie, to go the other way.
Yeah, Paige Llewellyn has been on fire so far this series alone, having been on base the majority of the chances that she's gotten in Game 1, going 3 for 5, Game 2, 1 for 2, definitely continuing that stride as she just pounds this one all the way to the fence out in right field. That's a great start for the senior here today against UCF.
So the Shockers talking about it there offensively as there's a conversation amongst the Central Florida Knights inside the circle. But what a job by Wichita State, Jamie, to get to Alia White early. And I'm not sure what it is about White that gives this team so much confidence. But they are swinging with a lot of that against a very accomplished pitcher. And it's not just today, but Friday night as well they did.
Just goes to show you the preparation that goes into each and every game here in this conference. You don't know anything about each other. This is the first time that Wichita State and UCF has faced each other. And so that just goes to show the type of research and reporting that you got to do in order to make sure that your team is fully successful and ready to go for each game.
Bailey Lang steps in, takes a strike, 0-1 to the Shockers starting pitcher. Way upstairs, 1-1. Bailey's home runs Friday in Game 1, numbers 5 and 6 of the season. And the count is now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Her hitting has really come together here in the second half of this season. Both average and power she has produced. Right around the time the Shockers started playing home games. She's going to walk to the dugout here, caught looking, and the Shockers are done, but not until a 2-run homer for Riley Buck, and Wichita State up 2-0.
Become a part of history at Wichita State University by helping us complete X Stadium. A new 10,000 square foot performance facility will give our baseball, softball, tennis, and golf student athletes the strength and conditioning training space they need. Your tax-deductible gift will help us knock it out of the park. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shock the world.
Ready for the second inning. Shockers up 2-0 after a 2-run first. And we talked about Senior Day before the game, Jamie, and 3 Shocker seniors recognized: Morgan Palmer, Mackenzie Wright, Paige Llewellyn. And what a day for them. I know you remember the emotions of Senior Day and what was going through the minds of those 3.
Yeah, you really start to just think back and be thankful for the game of softball. I mean, you don't really typically see a lot of softball players going to the professional level, so college softball is the elite. That's the top level you're going to get to as a softball player. And so you see all of them just hugging their coaches, celebrating with their families, because at the end of the day, this is something that's incredibly special to any senior.
Morgan Palmer, of course, a JUCO transfer into Wichita State and has been instrumental for the Shockers out in left field for a lot of the season. And as that left-handed slap hitter the Shockers have in their lineup, the only one they've got in their lineup to flip it back to the top. And of course, the numbers, the accomplishments for Paige Llewellyn, Mackenzie Wright. I could go on and on about what those 2 have done. So here we go. Kira Klarkowski will step in to start the second inning for Central Florida. Takes inside for a ball, 1 ball and no strikes. You know, talking about Mackenzie Wright over at third, the senior for the Shockers, as Lang gets set for pitch number 2 here to Klarkowski. So many top 10 categories she's in all time for Wichita State offensively. Also mentioned was she's got an ESPN top 10 highlight from, was it last season, that diving play at Nebraska and a throw to first that made ESPN's top 10 plays of the day. You know, because every player, especially when they play 4 years, 3 balls, no strikes to Klarkowski, can have great numbers, great accomplishments. Very few can make ESPN's top 10 for a defensive play, and Mackenzie Wright did that in her career. Pretty cool stuff. Klarkowski fouls one back to the screen, 3-1.
There's so many athletes making just tremendous plays all the time. And so, like you said, it's tough to be in that top 10 because there's so many athletes doing great things. But when you're Mackenzie Wright and you're making the amount of awesome plays that you do over at third base, eventually you're going to find yourself on that list because she has been a tremendous third baseman for Wichita State. Not much getting past her over at the hot corner.
Good job by Lang to work the count back full at 3-2. And talking about Mackenzie Wright, 200th career start at Wichita State came last week, and she has started every game of her Shocker career. Swing and a miss, strike 3. What a job, Bailey Lang to Klarkowski after falling behind 3 balls and no strikes to throw 3 consecutive strikes, and she gets one swinging for her first K of the game.
Yeah, that's not every day that you can see a pitcher bounce back from a 3-0 count and come back and get that strikeout. That's huge from Bailey Lang, who comes back, pulls the trigger, gets that nice little changeup right off the corner of the plate, and a great job to get that first out.
Bailey tied a season high with 11 strikeouts Friday, and she's picked up her first here in the second inning. Now Jasmine Esparza is in with a no-ball, 1-strike count to her. Lang, of course, the transfer from Northern Iowa. Delivers, and Esparza fouls it back to the backstop. Esparza 236 on the season, 2 homers, 26 runs batted in. We've touched on the fact that this Central Florida team likes to play a lot of small ball. It's not a team that is going to hit a lot of home runs. They like to get them on, get them over, and get them in, as they say. They will steal some on you. Good team when it comes to bunting as well. But if you want to get into a home run hitting contest with them, you are probably going to win. They want to score playing small. Here's a 1-ball, 2-strike count now to Esparza, who steps back in.
Yeah, just to make that point a little bit further too, Steve, what you were saying, Wichita State, not a single girl in this starting lineup offensively doesn't have a home run. They all have at least one. And you look at Central Florida, who has at least 3 or 4 who have none this season.
Well, if Bailey Lang keeps dealing like this, it's going to be hard for them to come up with any today. That's now back-to-back strikeouts after she gets Esparza looking. And Tamisha Glover will step up to the plate now. Lang just missed the outer edge right there for a ball, 1 ball and no strikes. There's a look at Glover, who had that big home run late the other night in game 2 of the doubleheader, as the Shockers had to come from behind again. But Glover, a 6th inning home run, got the inning started for the Knights, and for her, that was just her 2nd of the season, and that started a 4-run 6th for Central Florida, and they eventually took the lead but lost in the bottom of the 7th.
And Glover also didn't start in game 1 on Friday either, so this just goes to show you that coming up from off the bench as a hitter, it's a really big deal to just stay prepared at all times, make sure that you're ready to go, and she came in and proved that she's been working hard to be sure that she's that go-to person for the Knights.
Only hitting a .165 on the year, but that one at the time was a big home run to start a 4-run 6th for Central Florida. Fouled back to the screen. As you talked about, Jamie, that 6th in both games was a real monster for the Shockers, as the Knights scored 4 runs in both 6th innings on Friday. Game 1 and game 2, they put up a 4 spot. Swing and a miss, and Lang strikes out the side. How about that for Bailey? Two of them swinging, one of them looking. We go to the bottom of the second, 2-0. Shockers have the lead.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee. Steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Bailey Lang, a couple of groundouts and a flyout in the first inning, but all strikeouts in the second, Jamie, to strike out the side. She really brought it in inning number 2.
Yeah, Bailey Lang is starting to look just like she did earlier this season. I know Ryan Stefankowitz has got to be excited about this because Lang had a little bit of a lull that she was struggling to find the zone, and not today, not this series. She's looking great. Continues to be the leader in strikeouts looking here in the American Conference, pulling that trigger and getting the one swinging to end the second inning.
Now let's see if the Shockers can add to their 2-0 lead here in the bottom of the second inning. Madison Perrigan will step in for Wichita State. Mariana Gemelli then back to the top of the order with Mackenzie Wright. So 8-9-1, and here we go. Perrigan takes a good pitch for a strike. Looked like White took something off of that one.
Yeah, White already looks like she has way more control of that changeup today. We saw her struggling to find the zone with it on Friday, but if she can keep it there, it's going to be a dangerous pitch against this Wichita State lineup.
1-1 strike. Now, you have to think that yesterday, for Alia White and the entire Central Florida team, was a very long day for them to sit and think about what happened here Friday night. Giving up 2 walk-off wins in the 8th and the 7th innings of the 2 games respectively. Had to be hard to sit through that on a rainy Wichita day all day Saturday.
Yeah, you probably think that this team had some conversations with their coaches and maybe even with each other as they have been playing. I mean, we're almost toward the end of the conference season now. You know each other well. Got to find out how you can get back in the groove and bounce back after a nice day off after a 2-loss day.
Hot shot by Perrigan, back up the chute, base hit. And for the second time in as many innings, Wichita State's got their leadoff batter aboard. And now Mariana Gemelli will step in. Jamie, not only are the Shocker home runs going to center field, but even some of their base hits are, and that's just a sign this team is right on top of these pitches that they're seeing to keep sending them right back up the middle.
Yeah, timing's everything as a hitter, and you see Perrigan actually waited really well on that changeup from the arm of White, able to take that one straight back up the middle, although it was outside, a little bit slower than her other pitches, but she made the right adjustment as a hitter, took it straight up the middle with 2 strikes.
Mariana Gemelli in now from the right side, 1 ball and no strikes to her, and I think you have to really start giving credit to Elizabeth Economan for what she's done to these hitters. Inside edge for a strike. To continue to show their power stroke and do it to center field. And of course, this team's got the ability to spray the ball. Many players do to all fields, but again, when you're going back up the middle that often, your timing is impeccable up at the plate. 2-1 to Gemelli.
Yeah, Elizabeth Economan comes in with a lot of experience coaching. She was at Pittsburgh State here in Kansas for 6 years as the head coach. So she knows what it takes to be a good team, couples up very well with Coach Bredminer to really lead this offensive drive and work together to make the hitters realize that timing's a big deal, confidence is a big deal, and doing whatever it takes to get your runs across the plate. So far, so good for this offense this season.
2-2 to Gemelli as White is ready, and Gemelli sends this one straight back and out of play. Still 2-2. Mariana picked up her 5th hit of the season in the second game of the doubleheader. It was one that went right back up the middle. Struck it well. She is 5 for 18 on the season. That's 278. Little bouncing ball to second here, and they're going to try to get the lead runner and do just barely. A little bit of a gamble right there by Aubrey Johnson, but they get the lead runner 4-6, and there's one away. Well, Gemelli was a sure thing, Jamie, but they opted to go to second and just barely got it there in time.
Yeah, Madison Paragon, the catcher for Wichita State, running there, heading to second base. Again, not really known for her speed on the bags, but was able to get at least a close play out of that. That was a really good decision from second baseman Johnson for UCF to go for that lead run. Here with a 2-run deficit, every run counts. You got to take advantage of getting that lead out when possible.
Now Mackenzie Wright back at the top of the order. Walked in the bottom of the first inning. Rips this one to the gap in left center. It's down. It's going to bounce off the fence. And Gemelli's going to motor into third. Right to second. Another base hit for Mackenzie. Another extra base hit as well. And the Shockers with a pair in scoring position. Well, Mackenzie just continues to knock the cover off the softball. This one on a frozen rope to left center.
And continues to lead the Shockers in the conference. I mean, she has stepped up huge in her first year in the American, the Shockers' first year in the American, now having 4 doubles so far, a 500 batting average coming into the game today. Just someone who has absolutely stepped up her game this part of the season, which is exactly what you expect a senior to do, in realizing that this is an important and very crucial point in your season as a softball player.
That was her 9th double of the season. Asia Weber up there now leads the team with 10. If she does that here, the Shockers will double their 2-0 lead. There's Mackenzie out at second base. Almost impossible the second half of the season to keep her off the base paths. 3 balls and no strikes to Weber, and Alia White is flirting with fire now because she's in danger of loading him up with Lori Derrico up next. And she's done just that on a 4-pitch walk. Weber to first base. They're juiced for Derrico. And that's the second walk of the game for White. And again, that was a problem for her on Friday night. And she's done it again here to load the bases. Not when you want to do that. Lori takes a strike. She reached on a fielder's choice in the first inning. And then came around on Riley Buck's 2-run homer. Riley is now on deck. Down and in, 1-1. Look out. Ripped foul. I talked about Central Florida having a pair of 4-run innings in the 6th on Friday in the doubleheader. Well, Jamie, the Shockers have now pulled off the hat trick. In each of the 3 games in this series, they've scored 2 runs in the bottom of the first.
Makes such a difference. You know, I didn't pitch a ton in college. I did pitch every game in high school. I know what it's like to go out there with a lead. And so Bailey Lang's got to be feeling good when her offense provides her that opportunity these 3 games against a great team in UCF. I mean, your confidence is completely different when you're ahead as a pitcher.
Swing and a miss. That one likely outside, but Derrico went after it, and down she goes big. Out number 1, recorded by Alia White there on a good pitch. She wanted to get Derrico fishing, and she got her doing just that.
Yeah, you can see, again, White just really working her stuff. This one on the outside half of the plate. It really kind of started on the plate quite a bit, but then continued curving out, actually off the plate just enough to get the Derrico swing and miss.
3rd strikeout of the game for White. Now Riley Buck is in after stroking her 6th home run of the year earlier this game. Lifts this one. Right side, foul territory, and out of play. Down near the Shocker bullpen. Good job by White again to get ahead in the count here as the runners will retreat. That's Gemelli going to third, Mackenzie Wright out at second. Asia Weber is over at first.
Buck is one of 6 Shockers hitting over 300 in the American Conference. Some of her counterparts actually on base: Asia Weber, Mackenzie Wright, Mariana Gemelli.
Time is called as Cassidy Brewer wants to talk to White. Riley's got a golden opportunity here also to join the 30-run batted in club for Wichita State, which right now has 1 member, and that's Lori Derrico. But Buck now has 29 after her first home run. Here's a ground ball to second, maybe here. And instead, they'll get the force out at second, and the side retired. Shockers leave them loaded. And a golden opportunity to add to their 2-0 lead goes by the wayside. We'll go to the third. Shockers still up 2.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
The Shocker Sports Grill and Lanes is the perfect place to spend time with family and friends. Open to the public, the Shocker Sports Grill and Lanes features 8 bowling lanes, billiard tables, plus great food and beverages like freshly made burgers, sandwiches, salads, and cold beer. The Shocker Sports Grill and Lanes, located in the lower level of the Radigan Student Center, is the perfect place for kids' birthday parties, group events, or a night out with friends. The Shocker Sports Grill and Lanes. Stop by and see them sometime soon. We're going to go to the third, 2-0 Wichita State. Erin Emanuel to get it started for the Knights, and she takes the first offering from Bailey Lang. It's a strike, 0-1. Emanuel, then Brooke Barlow and Megan Greenwell. Bottom 3 in the Central Florida lineup. This one fouled back to the screen. Emanuel injured herself in Game 2 of the doubleheader the other night. Looked like it was her right ankle. She was deep in the hole planting to pick up a ground ball, then try to throw back to first. So it's good to see her back in the lineup and appears to be just fine. No balls and 2 strikes, the count to her.
She was a tough loss, too, for UCF because in Game 1, she was 1 for 4, scored twice, had an RBI, and was just put on base with a free pass as well. So, I mean, she's one of those players that you struggled to see come out after that tough injury in the middle of Game 2.
Batting average at .206 on the year. No homers, 7 runs batted in. Central Florida, as a team starting the day, has their average at .262. That's 23 points below the Shockers at .285, as Gemelli's going to get another chance. And a 4-3 put out 1 away. So Bailey Lang has faced the minimum so far. She issued a leadoff walk to start the game to Denali Shawpacker, but Shawpacker was retired on a double play. So it's 7 batters faced for Lang now, and here's Brooke Barlow, the catcher. Lang took something off there, down and in, 1 ball and no strikes. Barlow at $161 on the year with no homers and 9 runs batted in. Pitch high and away for a ball. We talked about the home run disparity for these two teams. Wichita State now with 51 homers on the season, thanks to Riley Buck's 2-run homer in the first. Central Florida with just 27. So just a little more than half the amount of the Shocker home runs hit by the Knights this season. 3-0 the count to Brooke Barlow. But obviously Alia White's gotten it done in the circle most of the time this season. There's a strike. Barlow thought that was ball 4. Central Florida also can get it done manufacturing runs. They've got 44 stolen bases on the season. There's the last pitch. And now a single right back through the middle, and there is the first base hit for the Knights on the afternoon. Brooke Barlow at first with a 1-out single.
As you mentioned, Steve, Barlow struggling at the plate so far this season, down toward the bottom half of the Central Florida lineup with a 161 average, and then gets ahead in the count against Bailey Lang with 3-1, and then takes this ground ball straight back up the middle of the field here, and that's a sure hit, and that's something Bailey Lang doesn't want to see at the bottom of the lineup in an 8-9 spot against any offense, so she's really got to clean it up and get ahead of these hitters to stay on track.
And this is a very good number 9 hitter for Central Florida, but she pops out bunting Megan Greenwell. At .313 on the year with 1 out, was bunting right there, but Mackenzie Wright tracked that one down in foul territory. Tough break for Central Florida.
Yeah, and this is tough too. As a third baseman, you're sprinting up toward home plate, expecting something on the ground. That one taking Mackenzie Wright into foul territory and actually backing her up a little bit. So a nice adjustment from the senior at third to get the big out of Greenwell.
Pitch outside for a ball. Interesting decision by Central Florida to take a .313 hitter and have her bunt with 1 out. With another good hitter coming up right behind her in Shoppacker, but that's what happened, and now 2 away. 2 balls and no strikes to count to Shoppacker. Shoppacker was 2 for 4 in the first game of Friday's doubleheader. Did not bat in the second game, and she rips one into right field here. A tricky hop for Nickerson, but Bailey picks it back up, and first and second for the Knights with 2 away. So good solid contact there for Shoppacker, and the 2 hits for the Knights in the game, both in this inning. That's got Ryan Stefankowitz out of the dugout for Wichita State.
Again, laying behind in that count against a good hitter, and you're going to see that time and time again. Good hitters like that 2-0 count, and they're going to be swinging out of their shoes, and we saw that from Shoppacker when she gets that pitch that looks really good, and she sends it out to right field, and it was a hard hit. I mean, it landed fast, got right in front of Bailey Nickerson out in right field, so definitely something that Shoppacker is known for doing. That's get on base, and if she gets behind or ahead in a count, 2-0, you're going to really be looking for a nice swing out of a great hitter at the top of the lineup.
Nickerson almost overran that ball in right field and had to reach back behind her and get a glove on it. So 2 away now for Cassidy Brewer with runners at first and second. Let's see if Lang can get out of the inning here. Bailey had retired 6 straight, and now 2 of the last 3 have base hits. Something we've seen from her quite a bit, it seems, this season. Within the course of a single game, she can really go through stretches where she's on and then just lose her command for a little bit, and then all of a sudden she's off.
Yeah, it just comes with focus, and as a pitcher, it's easy to lose that. You're involved in every single game, every single pitch, so you really have to stay tuned with what's going on and stay strong. Hit that strike zone as often as possible, and there you can see her frustrated as she thought she did that right there. It's been a tough, really tight strike zone so far in this series. It's just a matter of getting back into it. She's been successful so far this game. Certainly looking to come back and do the same thing.
Cassidy Brewer rips one foul. Look out, Aubrey Johnson in the on-deck circle. She had to duck out of the way of that one. Fortunately, everybody's okay. Brewer rounded into that 4-6-3 double play back in the first inning. So 0 for 1 start for her. But a great season, .339 the average. 5 homers, 22 runs batted in. Takes a strike here to even things up 2-2.
Notice the strike zone. We haven't seen a called strike that's low, but we've seen a few that have been high, and that's Bailey Lang making the adjustment and putting it there so that she can get the call when necessary to be able to get the outs and get her team back on offense.
Brewer with 3 base hits in the doubleheader Friday and 7 official at-bats. Has the full count here, so the runners will be moving with 2 outs, and the pitch just missed high and away, and they are loaded now for Aubrey Johnson. So Bailey Lang, who had given up no hits through the first couple innings, has allowed 2 and a walk here to fill them up for Aubrey Johnson. Johnson flied to right in the first inning, 0 for 1, and Lang just needs to focus on throwing strikes here, but that one not close. Good stop by Paragon. 1 ball and no strikes. This is a .331 hitter who leads the team in home runs with 7 on the year. Good pitch. Right where Paragon asked for it on the outer edge, and Johnson comes up empty.
Yeah, even with those stats you mentioned, Steve, Aubrey Johnson has struggled a little bit this weekend against the Shockers. She was 1 for 5 in game 1, 0 for 3 in game 2. Bailey Lang looking to keep her quiet this weekend.
Sent out of play, still 1 and 2. Yeah, Johnson, the pitcher Lang is dealing with, leads the team in homers with 7, leads them in runs batted in with 27. Leads them in slugging percentage at .531. Up high, 2 and 2. So you got to give her something worth swinging at, but a very dangerous player if you leave it out over too much of the plate. 2 and 2, the pitch. Strike 3 called, and down she goes, and Bailey a big one there, as now Central Florida returns the favor. They leave him loaded. Lang has struck out 4, by far none of them bigger than this one right here. We'll go to the bottom of the third, 2-0, Shockers on top.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Well, in back-to-back innings, each team has now left them loaded. Wichita State in the bottom of the second, Central Florida in the top of the third. Now on to the bottom of inning number 3, and Wichita State with a 2-0 lead. Steve Strain and Jenny Hull with you on a Sunday afternoon from Wichita. Very cloudy, overcast day. We had a lot of rain in town yesterday. Throughout the day, not necessarily a lot in volume, but in terms of periods of time, it would rain lightly for a while, stop for a little, rain a little bit more, as Bailey Nickerson sends one foul. 0-1 to Nickerson. Bailey 0 for 1, reached on an error in the first inning. She was stranded, though, at third when the inning came to a close. That one, I think Nickerson thought was inside, and it's 0-2. White ready, that one down low. Central Florida has some very nice wins on their resume, as we touched on Friday. A shutout victory over number 4 Florida. Included in that is they have done a nice job this season. They also have a shutout earlier in the season over Long Beach State, 3-0. There's a caught looking. Down goes Nickerson, one away on the strikeout issued by White. So here it is again. You can see Nickerson kind of frozen right there at the plate on this one. Good pitch by White.
Yeah, you can see she was really trying to hold up here as that ball was continuing to go out of the zone, and we've seen White be very successful against the Shockers with 2 strikes, having that one just tail right off to the outside half of the plate and then off of the into the batter's box, actually. So it's moving a bunch, and it's definitely getting Wichita State to swing.
Paige Llewellyn up now, 1 ball and no strikes to Paige. High bouncer, going to be a tough play, and there's not even going to be a throw. So Llewellyn is aboard, and that's the second base hit of the game for Paige. She sent one the opposite way in the first inning, this time bouncing one deep in the hole at short.
Even with the rain we had, you're going to see a lot of hop off of this ball, and so a lot of times with a dry field, you'll see it do that. But even with a wet field, there was enough power behind that ground ball off Llewellyn to soar into the air and be very difficult to get the out.
Now Bailey Lane takes a strike, 0-1. Bailey struck out looking her first time up. That's to end the first inning. Shockers have already stranded 5, Jamie. I talked about the fact that they left them loaded last inning. They left runners on as well in the first inning, 2 of them to be exact. So they have had their chances for Christy Bredbenner's team. Outside, 2-1. Coach Bredbenner at third, Ryan Stefankowitz over at first, Bailey Lang at the plate right now with the count 2 balls and a strike. That one works in, 3-1. No midweek game for Wichita State this week. After today, their next action will be on the road. As that one misses. And down to first base goes Lang.
Bailey Lang, not someone known for getting the walks, so that's certainly something Wichita State's happy to see. That's only her 10th walk on the season, and really one of her first in the conference. So great job by her, knowing as a pitcher it's very important to get on base, even if it's by the free pass.
So now Madison Perrigan in. And the first pitch to Madison, down low. Shockers at East Carolina next weekend. They will have a midweek game the following week. That's the first Wednesday in May, the 2nd. And that'll be a doubleheader here against Missouri. And then they'll wrap up the regular season on the road again at South Florida. Down low, 2 balls and no strikes, and Brewer has called time from behind the plate. There's a look at the Shocker upcoming schedule. East Carolina next weekend on the road. They got a big conference win yesterday, but it's been a struggle for them for the most part. Then there are the 2 games with Missouri. You can catch those here on WSUTV. May the 2nd, always big when you can play somebody from the SEC.
Definitely. I mean, they're known for their softball powerhouses, Missouri being in that company. And so you're thinking as a Wichita State lineup, what a great way to face off against a really great team going up against South Florida that they'll see the following weekend as they then head into the conference tournament play. So why not lead it off with a really great midweek series against a great team in Missouri?
Speaking of SEC, this batter right here, Madison Perrigan, has one of the biggest hits of the season, and it came against an SEC team, Arkansas. Madison Perrigan has the count now, 3 balls and a strike. The Shockers have a great non-conference resume, including a 1-0 win here against Arkansas back in early March, and Perrigan had a solo homer in that game. This time, she's going to send one through on the left side for a base hit. And Christy Bredbenner will hold the runner at third. That's Llewellyn. And the Shockers have him loaded for the 2nd straight inning. And Mariana Gemelli is about to step in. Good swing by Perrigan as she sends it through on the left side.
Yeah, Perrigan putting it in that spot again. That 5-6 hole has just been working it so far for UCF. This ball going all the way into the outfield where you can see that patch of dirt. That's where there was just a little bit of rain collecting earlier today. Our field crew taking care of that for both teams today. But again, Perrigan continuing the strike here for Wichita State's offense.
Now Mariana Gemelli to right center. This one is back and deep, and it's gone. A grand slam for the Shocker second baseman, and Wichita State's up now by 6. Two of Mariana Gemelli's 6 hits this season have been round trippers. That one, a grand slam, and she just tripled her RBI production for the season on an opposite field swing.
And nonetheless on the one she really wanted. She had no question in her mind she was swinging at that ball, and you could tell as soon as it left her bat, it was out of here. It was perfect, right on the outside half of the plate. She takes it right where it was pitched, and she knows that she's pumped. In fact, she ran so fast she almost caught the next runner in front of her.
And Mackenzie Wright now continues the hit parade with a line drive to left and a base hit. She's 2 for 2, and now the Shockers really getting some confidence against Alia White, as it's 6-0 and Wright's on at first base. So Mariana Gemelli goes from 2 RBIs on the season, Jamie, to 6 with a grand slam. She just picked up her second home run of the season, and 2 of her 6 hits are now home runs, and Alia White might be done. She is. Here's Gemelli. She knew it felt good from the time it left the aluminum bat.
Yeah, and you can just give it all you got for Gemelli. She has been doing everything it takes this season to stay strong at the plate. And again, when it becomes your turn to show you what you got, you can't be caught sleeping, and she's not. She's definitely someone who's been working for this, and she came up in the clutch for her Shockers here, again, hitting her first home run since the Creighton series back on March 18th, and that one, just no question about it. Great job from Mariana Gemelli to step into that role today and do it well for her Shockers.
And now that's going to mean Sierra Word will come in and pitch for Central Florida. Well, it's interesting the way things go sometimes. Remember how the wind went out of the Shocker sails when Kaylee Hecker committed that error at the end of the first game of the doubleheader, and that helped lead a couple of errors she had that day to some big 6th innings and the 8th inning as well in game 1 for Central Florida. Well, the Shockers ended up winning both games anyway. And now Christy Bredbender has found something in the stick of Mariana Gemelli, who's pretty good with the glove as well.
Yeah, and the way that they did it is with the long ball. And you got to credit, again, Elizabeth Economan and Christy Bredbender doing what it takes to get these hitters ready for a team that they've never seen before. And that's scouting reports, that's hard work during the week, and getting your hitters ready to go for a great pitcher in Alia White. And so far, so good for this offense continuing to do what they know how to do, and that's that long ball sent over the fence.
Here's Asia Weber now with a runner at first. Still only 1 out in the inning. Shockers up 6-0. Right at the letters for a strike. So Sierra Word is on. She pitched 4 2/3 innings. And Jamie, I don't think we talked enough about how effective she was throughout most of the 4 2/3 in relief in game 2 of the doubleheader the other night. But just 2 earned runs, and those were on the homer by Derrico in the bottom of the 7th inning. But Word really came on and restored order for this Central Florida team in game 2 the other night.
Again, and we talk about hitters coming off the bench and doing what they need to do. Same with this pitching staff. When Alia White pitches as often as she does, if you're other members of this pitching staff for UCF, you've got to be ready to go. And Word definitely came in and showed that she's been able to keep some batters off balance when White is needing a little bit of a break, as she does have a few starts so far on the season, but also someone who comes in the relief and makes a difference on the mound.
4 2/3, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, and those 2 earned runs for Word, but they did not come until the last pitch she threw in the bottom of the 7th inning. Weber rips one, but this one well foul. Asia well out in front of that one. Word took the loss then, and that was her first of the season after she was 3-0. So 3-1 a record now. 1.59 the earned run average in 26 1/3 innings. Here comes the 2-2 to Asia outside, and it's now full. 6 earned runs for Word on the year, 2 of them from the home run from Derrico the other night. Walked 18 and struck out 5. That obviously a glaring weakness of hers, but she was really good, I thought, the other night. Weber sends one over to the right side. That's going to be fielded by Barlow. A race to the bag, and Weber wins that race, and the Shockers have him at the corners. Well, that was a slow bouncing ball, and Barlow had to wait and wait and wait, and then she was running from one direction to the bag and Weber from the other, and Asia wins the foot race and the Shockers have them at the corners.
This is the pure definition of hustle plays, and you can see both players doing everything it takes, but you can see Barlow's glove just didn't get there in time, although she did slide and dive straight into first base. Her glove just didn't get there as quick as Asia Weber.
She started her slide too soon. Usually, as there goes the runner, the Shockers might try a double steal. Safe at second base is Weber, and now here comes home Mackenzie Wright, and down to third goes Weber. Shockers getting aggressive on the base paths there, and it leads to another run. So give Asia the stolen base, and it might be a throwing error that causes the run to score, but nonetheless, it is 7-0 Wichita State.
Here you see it again, and this is just a tough call because with the runner at first and third, you're going to have to decide, do you throw it all the way down or do you cut it off and try not to let another Shocker score happen? And you can see it there, Emmanuel covering second base, unable to come up with the out against Weber, and she takes third base on the play. So Wichita State certainly getting ahead of that play, and UCF unfortunate to not be able to pick up an out.
Now Lori Derrico is in with a 1-ball, no strike count. Home plate umpire doing a little house cleaning, and Asia Weber is over at third base. So the Shockers have blown this thing open. Derrico takes a good pitch for a ball. Good Lord. We have seen a lot of those this weekend. Where was that? Especially when a game gets to be 7-0. Now the count's 3-0. 8th batter to bat in the inning for Wichita State. So Sierra Word has not experienced already some of the good fortune she had the other night. She does deliver a strike here, and it's 3-1 to Derrico. Lori is 0 for 2. She is rounded into a fielder's choice and struck out. Somebody that is hard to keep down for long. Barely got a piece of this one, and the count's full now at 3-2. Lori's only base hit on Friday night in game 2 of the doubleheader was that home run. She was 1 for 5 in the first game of the doubleheader. Starts the day with her average at .319. Sends this one to left. Coming on is going to be Shoppacker, and it's going to be the shortstop, Emmanuel, that goes out, and Emmanuel actually makes the catch. Nowhere near deep enough for the Shockers to send Asia Weber, and now 2 away. That ends a string of 6 consecutive Shockers to reach base. Here's Riley Buck, the 9th batter to bat in the inning. Bailey Nickerson led it off by getting caught looking. And then 6 straight reached before the Derrico flyout. First pitch to Buck, and there for a ball 1-0. Riley obviously has done her share of damage already with a 2-run homer. Takes away, and it's 2-0.
So far, Word really struggling to find the zone. We've seen a lot of balls be thrown just in the first few pitches that she's seen against the Shockers today.
Nice play by Esparza at third to retire Buck. On the hot shot, she picks it up off the bounce and fires to first, and down go the Shockers. Wichita State scores 5 more in the inning before it comes to a close here. We go to the 4th, Shockers up by 7.
Become a part of history at Wichita State University by helping us complete X Stadium. A new 10,000 square foot performance facility will give our baseball, softball, tennis, and golf student athletes the strength and conditioning training space they need. Your tax-deductible gift will help us knock it out of the park. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shock the world.
On to the top of the fourth inning. Wichita State's blown this thing open now. Mariana Gemelli, a grand slam home run in the bottom of the third. And the Shockers now up 7-0. Bailey Lang with plenty of cushion now as we go to inning number 4. And Kira Klarkowski will start it off for the Knights. Klarkowski, then Jasmine Esparza, Tamisha Glover, 4, 5, and 6 for UCF. As the pitch delivered low to Klarkowski, 1 ball and no strikes. Klarkowski struck out in the second inning, and Bailey Lang struck out the side in that inning. Bunting here foul, 1-1. So Bailey Lang with 4 strikeouts, and 3 of them came in that second inning. Bailey has mixed it up too. 2 of the strikeouts were of the swinging variety, 2 looking. Right now she wants Ryan Stefankowitz to go through the signs again for the pitch. And Bailey delivers just barely away. 2 balls and a strike. Lang making her 27th start of the year. Appearance number 38 as Klarkowski fouls this one back and out of play. Bailey looking for her 15th win of the year. She's got 10 losses. Two and two, and the pitch lifted, right side foul. Buck is going to run out of room. Count still 2-2. Wind has shifted a bit. It's a little bit more of a northerly wind now. It was kind of out of the northwest when the game started, and the flag out in left field was blowing toward the right field foul pole. At times it still is. Odd direction, but we've also seen it blow straight in out of the north, where the wind would be right in over the left field fence toward home plate. Back-to-back days is the count still 2-2, Jamie, where we've never seen that wind direction before here at Wilkins Stadium that I can remember.
Yeah, and wind's never fun. You know, as an outdoor sport, it's always something that's kind of a question mark for a lot of teams. But if there's one thing that the Shockers and the Knights needed today, it was a little bit of wind to really get this rain off of the field that was covered by a tarp for the last day, as we saw a lot of rain all day on Saturday. So the wind is at least helping us dry up just a little bit.
Another strikeout for Lang. That is her 5th in the game. And Klarkowski's been struck out swinging twice. So 1 away, and here's Jasmine Esparza taking a ball 1-0. High bouncer over to right at third. Toss to first in time. 2 away. So Bailey is cruising again, and Jamie, once again, the trend continues of Bailey, hot and cold, struck out the side in the second, trouble in the third. Easy pickings here in the fourth so far.
And so far so good on the ground ball outs too. That's her 4th registered ground ball out. So if you can keep these balls on the ground today, keep your defense involved and engaged, you're going to have some success out on the mound for your defense.
Tamisha Glover is in now. Glover struck out as well in the second inning. And 1-1 now to Glover. Well, Lang really took something off right here.
Yeah, again, she's going to have that really dangerous changeup. It's so tough to swing at, but even tougher to watch. And there you see her throw it again for Mackenzie Wright.
Oh, what a play by Mackenzie. It's not supposed to look that easy. Side retired in order, and on senior day, that Shocker special senior at third, a great backhand, a 1-2-3 for Lang to end the top of the fourth inning. Here it is again. I'm telling you, it's not supposed to be that easy. Shockers by 7.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
On to the bottom of the fourth inning now. All Shockers today. Wichita State, a 2-run first and a 5-run third. Those are some good, Jamie, as they say, crooked numbers through 3 innings so far at the plate. And Wichita State leads by a score of 7-0. But how about Mariana Gemelli, though? Again, you can't talk enough about what she's done here for this team in the last couple of games.
Yeah, Mariana Gemelli getting the chance to start today. And again, that's after a few unfortunate plays over at second base for Kaylee Hecker in game 1. And we saw her come in, Gemelli really doing great things over at second base and really not showing that she hasn't been playing much, because her bat has been doing great things. She not only got on base, but then turned around and hit a home run as well in this game today, really making a difference for her Shockers offensively and defensively.
Bailey Nickerson to get it started for Wichita State. And a new pitcher is into the game for Central Florida, and that's Damara Badgen. So Badgen is in, and she is the third pitcher for UCF. Nickerson, the first batter she'll face. 1 ball and no strikes to Bailey. 2 balls and no strikes now. Nickerson 0 for 2. Bailey reached on an error in the first, struck out in the third. This is the 11th appearance of the season and the 7th as a reliever. And Nickerson takes a strike, and it's now 2 balls and a strike.
In the conference, Badgen only has 2 1/3 inning, giving up 4 hits in that time, 5 runs, only 2 strikeouts. So only her second appearance in the American this year.
Time is called, and Renee lures Gillespie out of the dugout. Not sure what this is about. Badgen is from Canada. She's from Delta, British Columbia. She is a sophomore, and something we talked about with this Knights team yesterday, and I think maybe she did. Was there an illegal pitch? Coach Gillespie is talking out in the circle. Nonetheless, Central Florida is a very young team. Only 2 seniors on their roster, so we haven't seen their best this week, but they're a very good team, already to 30 wins, and we're going to hear about this team making some noise for a while.
Well, making noise too in the conference. You know, we talked about their success so far this season. They handled Memphis well, 2 out of 3. Handled Tulsa with a sweep. Houston, 2 out of 3 wins. I mean, they've definitely made their fair share of noise in the American as well.
There was an illegal pitch, so that 2-1 count instead was 3-0, and there's ball 4. And Bailey Nickerson is on at first base with what turns into essentially a 4-pitch walk after the illegal pitch. So Nickerson on at first, and now Paige Llewellyn is in. Shockers with a chance to end this game in the top of the 5th inning if they score at least a run here. The run rule, the mercy rule, will then be in effect going into the top of the 5th inning. If the home team is up by 8 or more after 4.5 innings, the game is over. We'll take a look again, see if we can pick out, Jamie, where the illegal pitch occurred and for what reason. She leaping off the rubber too early.
Definitely could have been a leap. It looked like she may have planted her front foot again a second time. So in softball, if you do, that's considered leaping or crow hopping off of the mound. And so that could have very well been the call, although head coach for UCF did not like the call there against Nickerson.
Don't think Paige Llewellyn liked that strike call. Looked a little tight, 1 ball and 1 strike to Page. Good day for Page, 2 for 2, a couple of singles. Takes a strike. 1-2 now. Page started the day at 345 with the average, but putting together a very nice Sunday. 2 for 2 so far. Bounced foul over toward Christy Bredbender at the third base coach's box. Shockers with 8 hits on the day. 2 of them by Llewellyn. Page was on base when Mariana Gemelli smacked that grand slam home run, so she has scored a run as well. Busy day for Page. 2 for 2 with a run scored. Takes outside and the count is 2-2. Another one of those 3 seniors recognized on senior day up there now. Paige Llewellyn. Down and in, and the count's now full at 3-2. Paige Llewellyn, a part of 2 regular season conference championships for the Shockers, a conference tournament championship, and of course that regional win over Tulsa. Rips this one left field, coming on and trying to get there is Shawpacker. Did she? She did. Nice catch. Boy, what a great play by Denali Shawpacker in left field, coming on. And that's a bit of a gamble, Jamie. Do you dive or do you let it bounce in front of you? The risk is if you dive and you miss, it can get by you. But a nice play by Shawpacker not to let that one by her. And in fact, she caught it to boot.
Yeah, this one you can see Paige Llewellyn gets all of it. She's able to send it out here. And as you mentioned, Shawpacker really gambling here, but come in with a nice catch. And that's a great job in order to get the first out here in the 4th.
Bailey Lang now sends one through up the middle, and her huge series, both at the plate and in the circle, continues. Bailey on base for the 2nd time this game. She's 1 for 2 with a single and a walk. And another one, Jamie, that goes right back up the chute.
Yeah, you can see Bailey Lang here has a lot of control in a first pitch swing, and she takes this one just on the ground, straight up the middle. Again, like you mentioned, Steve, doing it both on the mound and at the plate, as she did pick up her 300th career strikeout in the top half of this inning. Feeling good.
What a weekend for her. 300th career strikeout in the top half of the inning. 2 homers in game 1 of the doubleheader on Friday, including a walk-off homer. She was the winning pitcher, went the distance in that game, and now another big day at the plate here and in the circle. Cassidy Kelsheimer is going to courtesy run out at second base for Bailey Nickerson. So first and second for the Shockers. Madison Perrigan is up. Badgen delivers. Perrigan takes low. Badgen has pitched in 27 innings this season, walked 16 and struck out 8. And Jamie, outside of Alia White, the other 3 who have pitched for Central Florida have a lot more walks than they do strikeouts. That puts a lot of pressure on White, but Badgen, 16 walks to 8 strikeouts. Cameron Toney is another pitcher we saw start 33 walks to 19 strikeouts. Sierra Word 18-5 starting the day. Good stop behind the plate by Brewer.
Again, that really makes a difference with a doubleheader. You know, for Central Florida in the American Conference, you're going to play a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, not typically a doubleheader, but we had to see that here in Wichita, expecting the amount of rain we got yesterday. So a doubleheader on Friday certainly challenged this pitching staff.
Drive, deep, right field, gone. 3-run homer for Perrigan, and the Shockers have put up a 10 spot in the game. It's 10-0 Wichita State. The 7th for Madison, runs batted in, 27, 28, and 29. Shockers up 10-0.
Here's Madison Perrigan taking this one on the outside half of the plate. It continues to soar. A lot of question marks on if it was going to be foul, and it stayed fair. It's a great job from Madison Perrigan, also known as Butters. We've talked about her and her nickname, as every single person that knows her calls her Butters. That's a nickname she picked up at the young age of about 10 years old, being a softball player. And so there she goes, rounding her bases and getting her Shockers the 10-run lead.
Now Mariana Gemelli, who's got one of the 3 Shocker homers. Hers was the grand slam blast in the 3rd inning, as it has been all Shockers today. Swing and a miss there. Nothing in 2. So Central Florida will have their work cut out for them in the top of the 5th if this game will continue past that, as the mercy rule is now in effect. Gemelli takes in tight, 1-2. Well, senior day looks like it's going to wrap up with a bang for Wichita State. 2 more home games on the season again, but not until May 2nd. That's a midweek doubleheader with Missouri. Gemelli swings, misses. She's going to get a chance to get on it first, but thrown out 2-3, and that's the 2nd out of the inning. So we'll go back to Mackenzie Wright. And again, the Shockers, we talked about this Friday, just wanted to recognize the seniors this weekend, even with 2 more home games left, because those 2 home games against Missouri are midweek. Harder to get the parents and as many fans out on a Wednesday as it is on a Sunday. So thus senior day today and not against Missouri. So this is not the last time that these seniors will bat here in Wilkins Stadium.
Yeah, we talk about how big of a difference it makes for the seniors and how strange it is to think of this being your last home game on a Sunday, but you got to really give it to the parents too, who come out and support their teams and their daughters playing in the game of softball. The amount of travel and money it goes into, you know, really supporting their daughters to get to this level, and it just really makes a difference for both the seniors that are being recognized today and their families.
There are the jersey numbers. Mackenzie Wright sends one foul. She is number 10. The 12 to Morgan Palmer, 15 of Paige Llewellyn. Nice little touch out there. I don't know that we were able to do that last year with 8 seniors. The entire outfield would have been covered with chalk.
Yeah, 8 seniors compared to 3. That's a lot different that you see here this year in the very small senior class that they're celebrating today.
Another solid hit for Mackenzie Wright. And another one right back up the middle. Boy, the way this team has gone, Jamie, you almost want to take all 7 players that aren't pitcher and catcher and line them up the middle of the field. Wichita State continues to pound the ball right back up the middle, like here.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how fast it is. So far, we've seen the Shockers take changeups and fastballs straight back up the middle. We've seen inside and outside pitches straight up the middle, just really making the adjustments when necessary at the plate in order to continue the streak of hitting that we've seen from them this weekend.
Neely Herring has gone in as a courtesy runner at first base, or excuse me, she's up at the plate now. She's going to hit for Asia Weber, so Herring is at the plate, Wright is at first base. And Badgin's pitch to Herring, in there for a strike, 0-1.
Neely is a freshman from Chandler, Oklahoma.
3 more hits today for Mackenzie Wright. 3 for 3 on top of that. And she got a little bit far off of first, but diving back in time. Jamie, she started the day at 380, did Mackenzie Wright. 390, excuse me.
You can see her taking a nice little lead. She was just a little off to the front part of her body, so able to really make the adjustment and come back.
Neely Herring to center field. Didn't quite get all of that one, but close. She flies out and the side retired. But Central Florida is going to need a couple to keep this thing going. We'll go to the 5th, 10-0 Shockers.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Shocker fans want to shop the largest selection of Shocker merchandise at the official store of Wichita State. The University Bookstore is located on the first floor of the Radigan Student Center on campus, or you can also shop online 24/7 at WSUbooks.com. Find everything you need for every generation of Shocker Nation. Join our Shocker Rewards program for cashback on future purchases as well. The University Bookstore, the place to shop. Well, if you're a Shocker softball fan, and most of you watching I'm sure are, you might want to get some Shocker softball gear, because this team is hitting the end of the regular season in stride, Jamie, as they're on the verge of sweeping one of the best teams this conference has to offer, as Central Florida is down 10-0 against Bailey Lang and the Shockers. Two quick pitches here to Aaron Emanuel. One a ball, one a strike.
Yeah, we talked about this before this series, that Central Florida was just in second place behind South Florida in the conference. And you can look and see just the RPI differences across the Division I softball programs. And you can see Wichita State at 34 and UCF at 56. These are two great programs in the Division I level. So you can see that the two are battling it out. Wichita State proving that they're a great member of this American Conference and of the top RPI teams.
Shockers have the top RPI in the American. As this one comes upstairs 2-2. They've obviously, until this series, flirted around 500 in conference, but Wichita State has swept Oklahoma State in 2 games. They've knocked off Arkansas, Texas, amongst others. Diving attempt by Derrico, but this base hit into center field for Emanuel, and the leadoff batter aboard for UCF. But the non-conference resume for Wichita State is pretty tough to beat. That's one of the reasons you schedule so many difficult teams, because if you can knock off a few of them, it will certainly enhance that resume, and Christy Bredbender and company have done just that.
Yeah, and speaking of the non-conference wins, Nebraska getting a 2 out of 3 wins at Lincoln was Wichita State. At the time, Nebraska was receiving votes in the top 25, and that's the last time Wichita State run-rolled a team. It was 8-0 in 5 innings against Nebraska. So just as you mentioned, to agree with you, Steve, on the amount of times that Wichita State's proven themselves non-conference.
1 ball and 1 strike to Brooke Barlow, who's got one of the 3 base hits for UCF, that in the 3rd inning. Swing and a miss here. Again, Bailey Lang picked up her 300th career strikeout in the last inning, so hats off to her. Her terrific career that started in Cedar Falls, Iowa, at Northern Iowa, now continues here at Wichita State. Foul back to this screen. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Barlow. Yeah, the Shockers really set the tone in their first game of the season for what it was going to be like. That was at Auburn, who was a top 15 team at the time. Another one back to this screen. Pretty much with the exception of what? 1 or 2. If you're playing the SEC, you're playing a really good team. And they played Auburn, scheduled to play them twice early in the season. At the tournament Auburn hosted. And as I mentioned earlier, the Shockers have also seen Arkansas from the SEC and will see Missouri here on May 2nd at Wilkins Stadium. 1 ball and 2 strikes still to Brooke Barlow. As far as conference RPI, SEC, no surprise, is number 1, but look who's at number 4. It's pretty impressive. Not the Big Ten, but the American Athletic Conference. Knights are going to get a courtesy runner over at first base. A brief stoppage here. Kendall Lang, a freshman, is going to run over at first. But do not sleep on this Central Florida team the rest of this season. And again, on into the future as well. And for that matter, Jamie, the Shockers with 3 seniors, albeit 3 major contributors to this team, particularly Llewellyn and Wright, but still pretty young team in their own right. Another foul, still 1 and 2.
What's interesting about that, too, is you talk about the youth of the program and what the coaching staff works to do all the time, and that's recruit more and more great players to come in here and play. The game of softball is facing, and the rest of the Division I sports facing a new rule starting Tuesday where recruiting is going to become a little bit later, and that's something that the coaches and the families actually welcome, as they're going to see students actually not talking to them until their junior year instead of earlier.
Asia Weber tracks one down in center field. What a fine running catch for Weber. For the first out of the inning, she had to get on her horse and head toward the fence to chase that one down. Nice catch.
Weber making an adjustment going into center field. She didn't really start there toward the beginning part of the season, but has moved over there and has done very, very nicely. She has a great first step back over to the wall. And again, that one just looking like it was soaring past her and able to really put her arm out there to get that big first out for the Shockers here in the 5th.
Central Florida is going to go with a pinch hitter. Caitlin Jensen will step in. And Jensen will bat for Megan Greenwell. Jensen was the replacement for Erin Emanuel Friday night in Game 2 of the doubleheader when Emanuel got injured. And now she'll step in and pinch hit for Megan Greenwell. Jensen at .215 on the season, but does have 6 home runs in her 25 at-bats. Or excuse me, her 25 base hits. She's definitely got some pop stepping in from the right side of the plate. She's seen a couple of balls here, 2-0. Good backhand stop there by Paragon to keep the runner over at first, Kendall Lang. Foul back and out of play.
It's really important with a lead of this size for Wichita State to continue to be on target. You know, don't start to back off, don't start to let go, get comfortable. What's most important is to finish a game strong, and although this one has continued to be in the favor of the Shockers, it's important to finish it that way as well.
This one pops straight up out towards short. Lori Derrico comes down with it, and Central Florida is down to their final chance with Denali Shopacker. So 2 away now as Shopacker steps in. Been a nice weekend for the Shocker shortstop, junior Lori Derrico. Now the Shockers will get dialed in on Shopacker. She is 1 for 1 today. Shopacker, a 3rd inning base hit. She walked in the 1st inning. Takes a ball, 1 ball and no strikes. Good pitch by Lang that time. And the count even at 1-1.
Lang only given up 2 free passes, today, and that 2 Shopacker and her follower and Brewer in the 2 spot. So definitely has made the adjustment to not give up as many free passes today. And of course, that's what any pitching staff and pitching coach and Ryan Stefankowitz likes to see out of their ace pitcher, who has the majority of the innings so far, both non-conference and in conference play.
Strike taken. Great pitch that time by Lang as she pulled the string. And now Central Florida down to their final strike of the game. Count full, 3-2. Shopacker, the top hitter for Central Florida in their lineup at .347 on the year. Little soft fly ball, shallow center. Derrico going back, and Lori makes a catch with her back to the infield. Derrico chases it down, and that's the ball game. Get out the broomsticks, Wichita State fans. It's a Shocker sweep, 10-0, a Mercy Rule win for Wichita State to wrap it up. We'll be back for a final wrap right after this.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Welcome back to a happy Wilkins Stadium on Senior Day, where it's a Shocker victory today, 10-0 by the Mercy Rule. After 4.5, the Shockers sweep a good Central Florida team. And Jamie, this series was big in so many regards. Wichita State 27-17 on the year. Central Florida 30-19. The Shockers have now moved a game ahead of Central Florida in the conference standings. Wichita State 9-6. Central Florida now 8-7. As those two teams trying to battle for a good battle in second place, but the Shockers at 9-6 now. The winning pitcher, Bailey Lang, she's now 15-10 on the season, and Alia White takes the loss. She is 22-13. But Jamie, so many things to talk about. First of all, it looked like the Shockers had so much momentum from Friday's two doubleheader walk-off wins that the day off Saturday didn't faze them. They came out ready to play today and jumped on Central Florida early.
Yeah, and if anything, they held on to it even late in the game, too. We didn't have to face that ugly sixth inning that Wichita State had in games 1 and 2. Instead, today, they said, let's not even give Central Florida the shot at getting back into this game. Instead, they were able to get ahead and stay ahead and come up with the big victory in 5 innings.
And how about the day for Bailey Lang? She picks up her 300th career strikeout today. Another complete game win for her. Good on the hill as well, or in the circle, if you will. But a big series for her. Lori Derrico, a big series. Big sticks all the way around. And again, here's the implications conference-wise. Looking at the standings now as it pertains to these two, Wichita State has moved in front of Central Florida by that game. Of course, Houston, though, and Memphis right on the Shocker tail. So we'll see how their games shake out later on in the day. The Shockers still have South Florida left to play in conference play as well. There's still a lot of softball left.
Definitely. And ECU, East Carolina, although they're toward the bottom there, they're not someone you want to mess with. They're going to come in and they're going to compete. UConn has done that against Central Florida that we saw this weekend with the Shockers. Came in with 2 of their 3 wins against these Knights, and we saw how competitive they are. So at the end of the day, there is no resting through the rest of this season. In fact, it just picks up from here, and the pressure is certainly on for Wichita State to continue to hit and pitch the way they did this weekend.
And another good RPI boost for Wichita State. Central Florida, a top 55 RPI club. So, let's look at this Shocker team now with the sweep of Oklahoma State, a win over Arkansas, the Texas win, Nebraska, and now 3 wins over Central Florida. So if this team does not get the automatic berth for winning the American tournament, Wichita State has got to get a lot of consideration for an at-large at this point.
Yeah, winning 5 out of their last 6 games, that's huge for Wichita State. You really got to be focused on what that can mean for them postseason and how far they can truly go.
Shockers not only got it done with the pitching and with their hitting today, but a clean game defensively, and it ends with Lori Derrico with her back to the infield, chasing one down to make the catch. Bailey Lang was happy about that. It's a Shocker win. It's a Shocker sweep, and now Wichita State can get a week off before they turn their attention towards East Carolina next weekend. Well, Jamie, it was a lot of fun, a very memorable weekend for a lot of reasons here at Wilkins Stadium, and we've got 2 home games left. If they're anything like these, that Missouri doubleheader will be a lot of fun.
Will be, and it's been fun really seeing the American for the first time. It's been fun watching these Shockers compete, and overall just fun working with the crew again here at Wilkins Stadium.
4 o'clock will be the first pitch Wednesday, May 2nd. That'll be our next time with you, as the Shockers will play a doubleheader against Missouri. So that'll wrap it up for here. The Shockers get out their brooms. They sweep Central Florida 10-0. Today's final score on a fun one at Wilkins Stadium. Not just for what happened during the game, but of course after the game as well, or excuse me, before the game, the Senior Day festivities. Morgan Palmer, Mackenzie Wright, and Paige Llewellyn, all recognized as 3 terrific seniors for Wichita State, playing one of their final games here at Wilkins Stadium. They will remember this day as well for many other reasons other than just the Shocker 10-0 victory. So that'll do it from here. We'll talk to you again on May the 2nd. That'll be a 4 o'clock first pitch, the Shockers and Missouri. Once again, for Jamie Hull, Steve Strain, thanks to Greg Mathias and our entire crew from WSUTV. We'll talk to you again May the 2nd.